Hi, so I'm happy to share that our coach portal is now ready, and I wanted to invite you to sign up and start using it. It's very easy to get started. If you just go to coach.gighq.ai, and I will share all of these instructions with you in an email as well. You can go through kind of the sign up process and sign up to create your account. I have already done this first step, so you'll notice that I kind of did the sign up, and so I already got the email saying welcome to GigHQ. I got set up as an admin. It has my organization name, etc. So I've already done this. So what I'm actually going to do is just go ahead and log in. And so when I give it my credentials, my username and password, you'll see that the first thing I do is I end up on the dashboard. So right up here, it shows the organization name that I created. This is my dashboard, and right now we currently have two students signed up. This is across all teams. You have a team filter here, so if you kind of switch around, you can see just the people on that specific team. So, for example, Fall 2026 is a future team, doesn't have anyone on it yet. Spring has one person, Fall has one person. The alumni team is currently empty. And then if you just clear that and go back to all teams, you see kind of every student that's in here. So that's the first thing. And I think I've shown this before, but you can drill into the details. So I'll skip the first one because that I haven't used that test account for a whole lot. But the second one has data in it. So this one right up here shows me the name, which team I'm on, who the coach is. So this is actually the coach name. Forgive me for the poor naming. I just create a bunch of test accounts. And then you can also see kind of the information about that student, right? So you can kind of go through, see what they've put on their profile. Remember, we're working more with profiles and not resumes because the system generates resumes per job. But you can as a coach, you can dig through as the someone supporting the student. You cannot make changes for them, but you can look at all of their data and then recommend changes to them. So that's one part, and then the other part is you can also see what we have the career compass, which is the when the student first signs up with us, they can create their plan of what they're looking for and that information, and you have access to see it, but again, not make edits. And then up here is the kind of the summary. You can slice it by 7, 14, 30 days. This is a quick summary. Actually, this feature is super powerful. What this is actually doing is it's feeding in all of my history as a student to the AI, and it's giving you as a coach a quick summary of where this person is. So you don't have to dig through all the details and look at everything that Hasnain's done. You can just say, hey, what is his, where is he in the snapshot? He's done 300 plus applications, only 13 interviews, so maybe something needs to be done differently, etc. And this is kind of the goal. The goal also is set by the student, but of course, you can encourage the student to change their goal, and I will show you that in a second where that happens. Um, and then, of course, you can kind of dig into the details, right? So for each job application they've done, you can click through and you can see everything that's going on. So the title, the company name, we've talked about a little bit about the community signal that we're building, so that's in here. You can see the details of if you want to see the job listing page. The job listing page is here. The description's also in here. We're going to work on some better formatting, but that's also captured in here. And then the actual resume and cover letter that they use to apply. So you can download these and look at these. Again, you cannot change these, but the student can do that. This summary is specific to the specific job. So the previous summary I was showing was the aggregate summary for the student. This is the specific student for the summary for the job. And then you can see kind of everything that's happened, right? So as this individual reached out to Maddie for this job, spoke to someone else maybe offline, and then they had an interview and the interview is completed. All that timeline's in here, so that's why this is super powerful. And you can do kind of similar things for other jobs, and you can dig into whatever details you want. You can go back all the way into the history and everything else. So that's what you get from a kind of guiding a student perspective. Now, from managing your organization, your team, as the administrator, you get a few different things. So you get the list of teams, and you can add more teams. You can add one or as many teams as you like. This shows kind of the count. So this team, Fall 2025, has one coach and one student assigned to it. So that's a quick snapshot here. Same thing here. And then what you can do is you can see coaches, and you can see who the coaches are. So this first one is me. I'm the administrator, so I'm listed in here. The icon indicates administrator, and this is a coach that I added. As an administrator, I have access to all teams. This is universal for administrators, and the coach is currently assigned to two different teams, and I'll show you that as when I log in as a coach. The administrator can add one or more coaches, so you have to put in a first name, last name, email. They go through a flow where they get an email address and they have to click to sign up, and I will show you that as well. And then in here is the list of students. So currently we have 2 students that have joined the organization and they're on different teams. Coaches can be assigned to one or more teams. And as I said, administrators have access to all teams. A student can only be on one team at a time. So if they're already on a team and you need to change their team, this will require that you make a different selection. A student cannot be on more than one team at a time. And then there's the invitation management, which I won't show you in this example just because I've already created my account and all of that. But this is where you would manage and I'll show you what that looks like. But now what happens is if I were to switch here, and so this is a coach I invited, this is my other user. So when I added myself as a coach, I got an email in my coach email saying, hey, you've been invited to join the organization. This is the code and join the organization. And the code's important because in the step, when I click through, it asked me to put that code in, and that's just a security validation. So we make sure that no one that's not supposed to be in there joins. And then what will happen is when I go in and I can log in. One of the things that will happen at that point is after I've received my invitation to join and I click join organization, the administrator still will get a notification saying, hey, John is trying to join your organization. So even though they received an email, there's kind of a second validation that makes sure that the administrator still approves that person. And that's also just for security purposes. So of course I didn't go through that because I've already done it before, but that's what this would show up. And there's a button here that says approve and you would approve them. So now what's different for a coach? So coach also shows the organization name up here. Coaches only see the teams to which they're assigned. So there is a fall 2025 team, which I showed you as the administrator, but the coach does not have access to it, so he cannot see it. This coach is assigned to more than one team, which is why that shows up. I imagine for a lot of your organizations, the coach will only be on one team at a time. But everything else kind of is similar to what I was showing earlier. I mean, everything at the student level, which team they're on, who the coach is, etc., shows in here. What I wanted to quickly show was the settings for the coach. So coaches don't have the ability to add teams. That's limited to the administrator. So there's no add button here. And then coaches also cannot add coaches. So that button's also not here. So only the administrator can add coaches. The coach can only see themselves and other coaches. They cannot see admins. But they can see which teams they're assigned to and how many students are on the team and all of that. They can see all the students that are in the organization. We haven't limited that, so they will see that. They will see the students that are assigned to their teams. And then if they invite a student to their team and there's a pending invitation, very similar to the coach experience, they will get a notification. They have to approve the student. Again, just as a security measure so that you as an administrator and a coach have full access. Now, there's a couple things you can do. You can see the student details, so information about the student, and you can remove a student. So maybe the student shouldn't be part of that team or needs to be on a different team. You can make some of those changes here. Now, moving students from one team to another and all that is left to the administrator at this point. That's open to conversation. If you all feel like that we need to change that, we can definitely do that. We can talk about that. So that's kind of what happens here. Now, so how do you get students to be on the team? So on the team tab, each team has a unique ID. And so what will happen now is if I grab, for example, the Spring 2025 code, you have to then contact your student, and the student has a different view of the application because they're using the GigHQ app, not the coach app. But what they will do is once they've kind of signed up and created their account, they will go under their settings. And there's a section here that says join team. And so what you will tell the student to do is you'll give this to them over email, in person, whatever. Ask them to put the code in and hit join. And then now it says your request is pending approval. So now where does the request go? So as a coach, you'll notice that I go back into my portal and I see there's a pending invitation. And it says, hey, Hastain's trying to join your org, right? And so you can either approve or deny, and that way you can add them in. And I'll also quickly show you if I go back as an administrator, same kind of situation. So either the coach or the administrator can approve it. And we've left that open because the administrator is kind of the super coach, right? So they have access. So at this point now, and also I will receive an email notification for that as a coach. So let me go back and show you that really quick. So it says right here for the coach's account is that, hey, the student's trying to join your org. And so you can review the request. So now I go back in here and I hit approve. And at that point, you confirm that. And now the student is, let me rebuild the page really quick. So now you see the students in here. Now the student's missing name because the account I've created is, again, I have a lot of test accounts, and this account I haven't put the name in, but I can update that. But essentially now the student is on this team. And so if you go back here, you can also see that here now it says there's one coach and two students. So that's kind of how it works end to end. We've tried to make it so that there's a lot of security built in. There's validation, all of that. The management for the students is in there, and of course now that the students in here, if you go back to the dashboard, you'll see that again the name's missing because I have to add it. But you get the idea. Is that essentially now you can dig into the details. I don't think this user has too much going on right now, so it's probably actually I do have some data. So yeah, so you can see all of that in here. Again, yeah, generated summary, everything else very similar. So that's the start to finish of the coach portal. Please contact me if you have any questions. I'm going to share some of this information with you. I'll write it up in an email too, but that's how it works.